Hello and welcome to our fourth devlog about the development of our roguelike real-time strategy game Rogue Command. I'm Mario, I'm the game designer on the game. We're only a team of two, it's me and Martin. But yeah, we've been working on this for a long time and I decided to try to do a weekly devlog here. Yeah, so what have we been doing this week? It's been kind of a mixed bag of different things. Oh wait, let me just 1 second turn down the sound here a bit so that I'm nice and audible for everyone. Yeah, so it was kind of a mixed bag of different technical stuff, like some performance optimization, some bug fixes, and I made a bunch of new toys for our enemies, and also kind of put some finishing touches on our research system, which was the topic of the kind of the last two devlogs here. So none of those things are kind of, I feel like a full episode worth. So instead, I'm just gonna play a level here and share some thoughts on a discussion that went on in our Discord this week. Yeah, and maybe you can chime in with your opinions about that later on. All right, let's go. I hope you can hear that my cat, for some reason, decided to start scratching the wall here. So yeah, this is a research pod here. So the discussion that I kind of hinted at is the discussion between roguelike and roguelite games. And so far, our opinion was always that we wanted to have Rogue Command be a roguelike. The kind of the differentiation, the difference for people who are not super familiar with the terminology is that in a roguelike, typically you don't have any persistent progression. So that means you play a run, and if you lose and you start a new run, you will have exactly the same chance of winning as in the first run. Whereas in a roguelite, there's kind of a progression between the runs, so you kind of unlock stuff that makes you stronger. And yeah, so and that question keeps coming up, and I thought the discussion that we had there in our Discord was kind of interesting, so I thought I'd just share some thoughts. So the reason why, for me, I always thought about Rogue Command of being more of a roguelike instead of a roguelite, so without any persistent progression, is that I feel like in a lot of roguelite games, it's very you can be kind of in this weird spot where you don't know if the game is balanced in a way where you're supposed to not be able to win, because they kind of want you to grind a bit before you are actually able to beat the game. So in that sense, that is a spot that I never liked as a player. But on the other hand, one of the things that I really want to do with Rogue Command is kind of, as long as it doesn't impede on the enjoyment of anyone else, I want to kind of give everybody a way they can play the game as long as it's fun for them. And kind of as a pretty bad player of a lot of games myself, I kind of got to thinking about my history with the Dark Souls games, which I'm pretty bad at, but I really, really enjoy. And often when I play these games, I actually kind of put in a lot of time grinding, because I like to be able to overcome the bosses that kind of beat me down for the first, I don't know, let's say handful of tries, maybe sometimes it's dozens of tries, just by putting in the time and kind of, you know, finding good routes to accumulate some experience points. So I was thinking, like, why would we not allow that here? And yeah, like I said, the only reason is that I feel like I don't want people to be in that weird spot where, you know, they're not sure, oh, well, I failed here. but did I maybe only fail because I'm the designer expects me to grind away here, and I really do not want that. But on the other hand, I think one of the reasons why I think another dimension of roguelites is that they can be really motivating for people, right? If you... Oh, hey guys. They're building a new building here. That's not good. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, so... that's dangerous when you when you don't have too detailed notes here and then you play at the same time. It was a risky gamble. But yeah, these devlogs are also kind of experimental. Let's try to get back to my point here. Yeah, it's another aspect of roguelites is that it's kind of motivating to unlock stuff, right? I'm having that experience with a game called Nordic Ashes right now, which I've been playing a lot on my Steam Deck, which is kind of like a one of those vampire survivor-like games that of which a bunch of them have come out recently, and I think this one does a really good job with the progression system. And yeah, so I'm really torn, and I would be really interested in like if you're watching this and you have kind of an opinion about that topic, I would be really interested in hearing your thoughts in the comments, or if you want to join our Discord, that's kind of... Oh, there's a tank. I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts, because this is really not a decided issue for me yet, and I really am of kind of two minds in regards to that topic, because I don't want the progression, I don't want the ability to be able to progress to kind of rob you of your of the rewarding learning curve that you can also have, right? Because I think one of the really cool things that we kind of stumbled upon with this game is that there's so many axes in which you can get better. Like, you can get better at micro, you can get better at slowing down time whenever you need, you can get better at actually using the skills that that will help you in a certain situation. There are so many things that you can start to understand, like spending your money, doing your research and not forgetting that, using environmental effects, building a deck that works. There's so many things that you can get better at, and I've definitely seen that with watching streams, watching players, watching playtests, that when some mechanic clicks for people, it's really rewarding, right? And I'm kind of weary that putting in a progression system might impede on that, and might kind of maybe hinder some people in that. But on the other hand, I'm not sure, because maybe also on the other hand, if you're more motivated to keep playing because you unlock a like persistent progression stuff, then while you're doing that, you're probably also getting better, right? Because you play the game more. So you probably will kind of be pushing along those two axes. And I think in our case, with our game, probably the axis of you as a player getting better is actually the way stronger lever. So yeah, I don't know. So I think it might be fine. And I think since what we definitely want to do is having unlockable difficulties and having persistent progression like that. Also, we want to have unlocks for sure. So you want to give you kind of a limited card pool in the beginning, so we can kind of also manage the complexity of the synergies that you can go for and expand that over time. So when we have those mechanics, then like on a technical level, those will be very similar to what we would need to have a persistent progression system. So I think the overhead of just testing that is not too big, and so I think we will definitely test it out. And yeah, so I think those are kind of my main thoughts on that, and I would be really interested in hearing your thoughts. And yeah, for the first time today, we actually have some questions in chat here, which is really cool. So let me figure out how to actually do that while play. Okay, definitely, I think next time... Oh, there's some new stuff you haven't seen yet here. There's coin chests now that you can find, which give you coins for the shop. All right. I'm just gonna let you watch this in slow motion here while I scroll over to the other screen here. So Druids Union said it's extra cursed strategy games. Meta progression can ruin the first half of the game if not done perfectly. I'm not 100% sure what you mean with that. First half of the game. Maybe you can explain if you're still there. But what you mean by that, I'm not 100% certain. An Esoteric Man says there's also a middle ground where you unlock new variety things like Slay the Spyro. We unlock cards by playing RFTL. We unlock new starting setups. Exactly, yeah. That's something that we definitely want to do, right? Because we will have multiple factions. There will be enemy types. There will be a bunch of cards and hacks and upgrades and research branches and that kind of stuff that you will be able to unlock. And that is something that we definitely want to do. But and I don't think that kind of breaks the convention of it being a roguelike. But yeah, I definitely see people asking for like progression mechanics that are more actually making you stronger. Yeah, exactly. That's what Druids Union said a bit later here, is that card unlocks and faction system. Sounds like a good way to handle that. Another question. Is there any plan to add boss unique enemies in the future, sort of as a delivery system for more unique or possibly game-breaking hacks or relics? I'm not 100% sure about that. So you mean that like in a way where you would only get certain things from certain enemies? Sorry, this just gonna zoom over here for a bit. I don't think that makes a lot of sense in our case. But maybe. I don't know. Maybe. The way that we kind of design the game is very iterative, right? I still love playing the game myself, and most of the decisions actually come from me playing the game like I'm doing now and just thinking about it, or watching streams, watching Martin play and thinking about the experience that I kind of see people having, and think about what you know, what is missing in the moment here. Like, I think one of the things that we're definitely missing in the demo version that is up right now is variety. I think it kind of get very samey. If you've played it a couple of times, then you kind of probably figured out some of the builds that are kind of doable with the stuff that's in the demo. So yeah, and just unlocking new stuff without getting stronger is definitely something that can solve that. An Esoteric Man. And most important thing for me is that I can set it to a difficulty where I'm actually challenged without having to unlock a difficulty. That's hard enough to actually have to interact with the game. That's also a really good point. So I think that is also something that we might just try, because I think usually that is not something that is very roguelikey to kind of let people pick a difficulty level just off the go. But RTS games are very, very complex, and a lot of people don't have that much experience with the genre. So I think it might actually be necessary to kind of have a difficulty picker in the beginning, or maybe you kind of try to figure out via the tutorial what your knowledge level is, or something like that. It's definitely something that I'm very aware of, because of course for me, like having played all this for so many times, I'm really, really looking forward, probably the most of anybody right now, towards the where are you attacking? I'm trying to talk here. Looking forward to the unlockable difficulty stuff. But yeah, maybe. So I think another thing that we could do that I've been thinking about is kind of, if we can tell that you're playing really well, you might be able to progress through the difficulty way quicker. Or another mechanic that I really, really like is in Monster Train, you're kind of able to, with every enemy, kind of set it to a harder version. And that kind of also governs the different rewards that you can get from them. And so often you will try to kind of go for the harder one because that gives the better rewards as well. But in some cases you might kind of notice, oh, this one has a setup that is would be really, really hard to handle for me, and then you might not. All right, let me build some more factories here, and then I'll read next questions here. Dritz Union says, cosmetic unlocks would be interesting too, like color schemes and hats as opposed to raw stats. That is definitely true. That is definitely something that I've also... I thought about that, but, you know, that is something... If the game does really well, that might be viable. But just with the limited manpower that we have, I really don't want to put effort into things that kind of don't push the core experience of the game forward. So I don't think, like, until all that stuff is settled, I definitely don't want to put effort into kind of cosmetics or those kind of things. But yeah, I like the idea. I think with our engineer, it could be kind of a cool, like a cool way to kind of personalize maybe your ship, that kind of stuff, or like put some cool things on the engineer, that kind of things. That could be definitely cool. Most popular game in this space right now is probably StarCraft 2 co-op mode, which has meta progression. It doesn't make you unlock difficulties, though. It lets you try near impossible difficulty without any upgrades if you want. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I'm a very, very big believer in just trying stuff, and we try to build the game as modular kind of as possible, so that it's always work, but we try to build it in a way where like kind of we can change bigger things even without it kind of breaking the rest of the game. So yeah, I think that is definitely something that that we have in mind and that we've been thinking about. And we will definitely, as soon as we have kind of all the major gameplay systems implemented, we're definitely gonna go and do some open beta, some playtest weekends where people can sign up for that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, if you're interested in, you should definitely kind of subscribe here, or even better, kind of join our Discord, because that is definitely where we will inform people about those things. And yeah, and one of the reasons why we definitely want to do those is, like, I want to see a lot of people play the game. I want to see how many of our players are kind of finding it too hard, too easy, and even if it's only like 10% that find it way too easy, if there's a good way for us to fix that isn't like making development like 3 times longer, then that is definitely also something that I want to try, because I feel like we're kind of making this game for those people as well, right? Because we love the genre, and we really hope that we can kind of add something new to the space, and it would be kind of against that that core idea if we wouldn't support the core audience of that genre. Alright, for difficulty stuff, I recommend Synthetic Legion's Rising systems. It has unique difficulty levels that majorly rise difficulty but give you small bonuses for better loot in return. That's funny, because I actually just bought that a couple of days ago, but I haven't started it. So maybe that'll be my my homework for next week, and I give you my my thoughts about that. Yeah, I think those were kind of the points. Thanks so much for the questions. I think it's a really interesting topic. Also, please let me know if this format here with me just playing badly while talking adds anything, or if I should just talk over some pre-recorded footage that might be a bit more coherent, but probably a bit, I don't know. It's kind of fun for me. I like having to do that, but just in the moment right now, I can't really tell if if the quality is good enough for people. So yeah, feel free to give me feedback on those. I'm definitely just with those devlogs here. I'm just throwing different things against the wall and see what sticks. Like what's most fun for me, what people enjoy the most. So of course, if you give me feedback, then it's much easier for me to know what works for you. Yeah, that's it. In terms of discussion, from here on out, I'm just gonna try to beat this level here, and probably just gonna stop the recording here, but probably gonna keep streaming. Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing more gameplay, also subscribe to our Twitch. Like I said, definitely join our Discord if you're interested in talking to us and being very close to development. Like I pretty regularly kind of post questions in there, and it's I think, even though it's not a huge community at this point, I'm really happy. Like there's discussions that are going on, and there's a bunch of people in there already that are really interested in the game, and that of course is very, very motivating to see. All right, yeah, we also have a Twitter that we that is not super active right now, but sometimes you get to see kind of cool pictures of bugs or that kind of stuff there. But yeah, I think the Discord is the main thing. And also, of course, if you are at all interested in the game and you haven't yet, please wishlist it, because that helps tremendously with getting visibility for the project. All right. Thanks so much for watching. And yeah, I see you next week.